We are now standing in front of the site where George Floyd was actually murdered. And there's signs all over that are reminding us of how much this is a sacred space. A Black man was murdered by a police officer right here in this space. First of all, many people would ask, would you even bring a child to this space to talk about that? And if so, what would you say?
Yeah, so it is. It's a hard space to come to. I think that I would definitely come without children first if you haven't been here before. Yeah. I think that would be important to be able to be present for a child when you brought them here. Yes. So to come here to process it, it will still feel heavy every time you come. Talk to children before you come here about what to expect, and they're going to ask a lot of questions about, you know, the stuffed animals. Yeah. They may want to, sometimes you can say before you come, like sometimes people bring something special that they would like to leave there. You know, tell them about what the space is. Tell them a little bit about what happened, that someone, you know, someone died here, someone killed them, and it was, you know, a police officer.
And there are images in some places of police officers. Correct. Here, so
yes.
They may recognize those images.
Exactly. So I think having a conversation about you know, the job of police.
That's really good. And I also want to point out that the conversation you have might be different if you are a parent of color or parenting a child of color, than a white parent or parenting a white child. Because I imagine that part of the conversation of a child of color might be, will this happen to me? And I have heard anecdotally of young children after George Floyd's murder, they wonder, will this happen to me? Or will this happen to my father? Will this happen to my brother or cousin or someone in my family? Mm-hmm. And that is a really hard question to answer, but it's also a really important question to answer because it speaks to a child's safety, and that's a core need for children, is to feel safe.
When I answer that question, I have to be truthful,
yes,
but also hopeful. In the world, we have to think about how we navigate, and so we have to share that with our children.
And if you are a white parent or parenting white children, the conversation shifts.
The white families that I know have found it really important to have the conversations about, you know, how we have this, you know, the sign in our yard that says, like, you know, like Black Lives Matter, like, and we talk about like how we love people that look all sorts of different ways. We're going to go to a place, and what happened there wasn't what we believe is true of the world, but someone else, you know, hurt someone, and this is what happened, right? And so you figure out a way that makes sense with the context of your child's background.
And one thing that we can now say, at least, is that the officer that did this went to prison.
Correct. So what happened here, you know, he did something that he was not supposed to do. People agreed this was wrong, and he has to go to jail.